Walmart is selling cow hearts inside a box labeled quarter-pound beef patties. 20 patties, 13 cents an ounce. Would you have caught that on the label? Would you have noticed before it hit the grill? Subscribe now, because there's one line buried in a government code that explains why every single brand on this list gets away with it, and I'm holding that until the very end. I spent time comparing ingredient panels, ownership records, and government filings across the biggest names in frozen burgers. This has nothing to do with flavor. It's about what companies are legally permitted to hide inside a box stamped with the word beef. Stick around, and you'll walk away knowing 8 things working against you, 6 named brands, 1 sneaky label word, and the rule that connects them all. Walmart extra value quarter-pound beef patties come 22 a box at 13 cents an ounce, cheap for a reason. Ingredient 2 on that label is beef hearts. That's organ meat, and organ meat can't legally sit inside a package marked ground beef. Naming it beef patties instead sidesteps that rule entirely. Add water, soy protein concentrate, and turmeric extractives for color, and you get a patty that customer reviews describe as gray tan on the grill instead of a proper sear. My verdict here is simple. This is a filler patty wearing a burger costume. In an independent taste test covering 11 different frozen burger brands, everything got lined up and judged side by side. 11 separate products, 1 panel, 1 scorecard. This wasn't some off-brand, nobody's heard of losing to a handful of unknowns. Out of all 11 of those brands, Flanders Homestyle beef patties still came in dead last, the single lowest score handed out that day. One tester compared the bite to a crab cake rather than a burger. Check the ingredients and the reason is obvious. Soy flour, dextrose. The same reviewer never finished the patty. My call on this one is skip. Ballpark's flame-grilled patties carry a 100% beef banner across the front. That banner only applies to the meat itself. Nothing else in the box gets counted. Turn the package around and you'll find 13 separate ingredients. Beef, water, sodium phosphate, dextrose, maltodextrin, yeast extract, grill flavor made from partially hydrogenated soybean oil, modified food starch, and corn syrup. Ballpark belongs to Tyson Foods, folded in through the 2014 Hillshire Brands deal for $8.5 billion. Skip is the only reasonable call here. Next up is Steak-umm, those paper-thin sheets you toss in a pan for cheese steaks. It got its own legal definition from a federal judge back in 2012, chopped and formed meat. That's not a phrase from a food blog or a snarky review. It's language that ended up written into an actual court record. The kind of definition attorneys cite in a legal filing, not the kind a copywriter puts on a box. Nobody at Steak-umm chose that phrase for the packaging, obviously. A judge chose it in a formal ruling, because the case required a precise legal description of what the product actually is. When a product's real identity has to get settled in a courtroom instead of on the packaging, that tells you plenty about what's actually inside, and it tells you a court thought the gap was significant enough to write down formally, on the record, for anyone to look up later. Think about what actually comes to mind when someone says the word steak. A strip loin on a hot grill, char marks crossing the surface in a tight diagonal pattern, juices pooling at the edges, a knife sliding through a pink center with almost no resistance at a restaurant table. That's the picture the name is selling, and it's the picture printed right on the front of the box. Now compare that to what's actually inside a Steak-umm box. A stack of paper-thin, pale pink sheets, frozen solid, stuck together edge to edge, closer in texture to sliced deli meat than anything that ever came off a whole cut of beef. What actually ends up in the package is nothing close to that first image, and a federal court put the distance between them in writing, in language a judge signed off on. That definition breaks down like this. Built from beef trimmings left over once every primary cut has already been taken. Those trimmings get ground down repeatedly, packed into a loaf, frozen solid, then shaved into sheets. Every gram of it is beef. None of it resembles what the word steak is supposed to mean. My take here is proceed with caution. Put Banquet's family-sized Salisbury steaks and Fast Fixin' side by side, and you're looking at the same corporate strategy wearing 2 different labels. Banquet is a Conagra product, and its ingredient panel opens with mechanically separated chicken, followed by water, then pork. Beef doesn't appear until the 4th spot. After that comes soy-based textured vegetable protein, plus caramel coloring added twice, just to mask the gray tint underneath. Conagra's portfolio also includes Healthy Choice, Marie Callender's, and Hungry Man. Fast Fixin', meanwhile, is Tyson-owned, picked up through the $4.2 billion Advanced Pierre Foods purchase in 2017, making it Tyson's second entry on this list. Between them, Tyson and Conagra control an enormous share of what's sitting in your freezer aisle. Both of these earn the same call from me. Skip. There's also a whole category worth flagging before the biggest reveal. Anything on the shelf marked seasoned beef patties. That single word, seasoned, flips a regulatory switch. It clears the way for sodium phosphate to hold water inside the meat, for maltodextrin and modified cornstarch to act as carriers, and for yeast extract and disodium inosinate to boost flavor artificially. None of those are allowed inside a plain ground beef patty. Here's the rule that connects every name on this list. Federal Code, Title 9, Section 319.15, states that anything labeled ground beef patties or hamburger patties is barred from containing added water, phosphates, binders, or extenders of any kind. None of it. But swap two words, print beef patties instead, and the entire rulebook changes. Textured vegetable protein, soy protein, organ meat, even added water all become fair game. Every brand you just heard about is built around exploiting that exact gap. This isn't sloppy quality control. It's a deliberate labeling strategy. None of this was meant to scare you off frozen burgers for good. It was meant to show you exactly what that packaging is built to hide. 6 products, 1 sneaky label word, and a federal loophole big enough to drive a meat truck through. That's the bad news. And it's real, but it's not the whole story. Somewhere between the fillers and the fine print, there are still companies choosing to sell exactly what the label says and nothing else. No loophole, no organ meat, no chemistry set disguised as dinner. So flip the script. Here are 3 brands that actually deliver what the front of the box promises. Kirkland Signature's grass-fed beef patties, sold exclusively at Costco, carry exactly 1 ingredient on the label: beef. The cattle are raised without antibiotics or added hormones. A box holds 15 patties at 1/3 of a pound apiece, priced around $30. Call it 38 cents per ounce, the strongest value on this entire list. The only barrier is needing a membership card to walk through the door. If you've already got one, this is the easy pick. Bubba Burger keeps things down to a single ingredient: 100% USDA choice beef chuck. 0 fillers, 0 additives, 0 preservatives. Walter Eves started the company in Jacksonville, Florida, back in 1995, and it's remained privately held ever since, still running its own processing plant in Elberton, Georgia. It also happens to outsell every other frozen burger brand in the country. The one thing worth watching is thickness. These patties run thick, and the fat content isn't perfectly consistent batch to batch. But strip away everything except the label, and beef is the only ingredient written there. This one's a clear buy for me. Prey brand sits at the top for a reason. 1 ingredient, and it's beef that's both grass-fed and grass-finished. That second part is the detail most competitors skip. Plenty of grass-fed cattle still get fattened up on grain in a feedlot before slaughter. Pre's cattle graze on pasture for their entire lives instead. The brand also carries non-GMO project verification. Expect to pay 60 to 70 cents an ounce, which isn't cheap, especially next to the 13 cents an ounce Walmart charges for a box padded with beef hearts and water. But the math makes sense once you know exactly what each price is actually paying for. It proves a burger patty doesn't need a chemistry degree to understand. It's an easy buy, no hesitation. Total ingredient count is basically all you need to remember. Ground beef by law can't carry fillers. Beef patties can carry almost anything. So before any of it lands in your cart, turn the box around. A short list you recognize means it's food. A long list of things you can't pronounce means it's chemistry wearing a burger's photo. If this kept you from grabbing the wrong box tonight, tap like. Tell me in the comments which brand shocked you the most. And subscribe for more breakdowns like this one.